சரி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடுங்க.
Yes, ma'am. Dear students, good morning to all. Today is the 7th class of HCI. Here in the fine-tuned, good atmosphere, I think your mind is to be fresh. For a turn, 2 days back, again I come together for the HCI class. Till now, we have discussed there is a many topic, interesting topic in the first unit. Especially, we have discussed that initially I started the input-output channel, and then we come to the human memory. Later on, that is, I can distinguish between the reasoning and the problem-solving technique. Later on, again, I come to the memory, but the memory I can consider in the computers. So we are deeply discussed that the device we can say about that is the input and output device. Here that is the memory, and then processing network interaction. So here in the next class, previous class, I just want to tune the summary of the previous class. Especially, I deeply discussed the interaction. The interaction, I can say that there are models of interaction. Here, the models of interaction. Here, first of all, that the user must know what is going on here in front of the view. That is the interaction. Especially, there is a normal execution evolution cycle is involved. There are several stages are there. That stages also I deeply express. So here, what is the model of interaction I told in the previous class? That is the what is going on. That is the user must know. That is that means here the interface must effectively translate between them to allow the interaction to be successful. If the interaction is successful only, then the viewer, the person can understand the scenario. So here, so what is going on? We have to understand. In between that, we have to likewise some difficulty phases during the interaction due to discussed in the normal execution evolution cycle, followed by the 7 stages. Here the interaction, especially interaction, what the 3 terms are involved, I told that the domain, task, and goal. What is the domain? That is the area of expertise. Then only the knowledge gain. That is the domain. Here, what is it? You already knows the task. That is what the operation that has to be performed in order to perform certain action. That is the task. The operation has to be performed well. That is the task. Next thing is what? Whether the operation is successfully completed, after that it will reach a goal or not. That is the output is to be predictable. It should be acceptable. That is the thing. So here the domain, task, and goal I clearly told. Here especially here the task involved. Here what? Initially we have to understand the identification of the problem. Then only we can implement well, and then we go for the process, furthermore process. So first thing that is the identification of the problem is needed. That is the task involved. Especially here the concept used in design, we can say that is the description of the user are separate, and then a distinct component are called the system and the user. So we have to separate the components between the system and the user. So initially we know down the what? Identification of problem. So here the identification of the problem, here the interaction taken place between the user and the system. So here especially 2 languages are involved. I told one is the what? One is the core language, next one is the task language. Core language that can be referred in the system. Task language that can be viewed for the view, that can be evaluated for the user. Core language, here that is system language. Here it describes the computational attribute of the domain relevant to the system state. Then that is what is the system react. Here the task language, that is the viewer, that is the user. So it describes the psychological attribute of the domain relevant to the user state. Here the user view, that is the psychological attribute. When you come to the system view, it defines the computational attribute. So the interaction taken place between the viewer, that is user, and the system. 2 languages are involved. Especially that sometimes they ask what are the 2 languages refer in the interaction. Simply there is a core language and task language. 2 marks question they will ask in the university exam. So next thing we have discussed that there is execution evolution cycle. That is normal execution. That is a normal model of interaction. I told that what is the difference between the execution and evolution. Execution, here as per the constraint, as per the condition, we are doing the work. That is the execution. Whether the work has to be successfully reached the criteria, such that criteria that can refer the satisfaction, that is the full execution. that is, I can say that is the evolution. That's the difference between the execution and the evolution. If the execution is successfully completed, then only I can forth to the next plan, next executed plan. That is the execution and the evolution. We have to note down the difference between execution and evolution. So that I told that is the 7 stages. I told that is a normal execution cycle. That is establishing goal, forming the intention, specifying the action sequence, executing the action, perceiving the system state, interpreting the system state. Next one is the evaluating the system state. So here also the execution and evolution in terms of defined as the gulf of execution and gulf of evolution. Here the gulf of execution, the user formulation of this action to reach the goal and the action allowed by the system. User formulation of the here the user formulation of the action. We are only interpreting the device. Device should be react. That is the user formulation of the system to reach the goal and the action allowed by the system. But we come to the evolution, physical representation of system state and expectation of the user. Whether the execution output it should be acceptable by the user or not. That is a evolution, gulf of evolution. So we have to note down the difference between the gulf of execution and the evolution. So now we are told understand advantage of normal execution evolution cycle. That is interaction is to be reached successfully in a clear way, but it does not attempt to deal with the system communication to the interface. It understands what? Now, normal one, you can understand interaction in such a way it is clear, but does not attempt to deal with the system communication. Okay. Now here in this class, we are going to deeply discuss the interaction framework. So here the interaction framework, especially what it describes the interaction in a successful way, I can break it down into 4 components. What are the components I told? Here there is the system, user, input and output. System, user, input and output. So here that is the interaction, physical component. So each component have its own core language. Here I can give the input, I can give the commands, I can type some instructions, then only the system should be react. It should also, that means what? It should have some proper syntax and proper code. That's only I am told. Each and every component can have its own language, core language. So here, addition to that is user can analyze the interaction. The user that is the task language I told. So that the input and output are put together to form an interface. So here also the 4 steps are notable down there. So what are the 4 steps? The input language is translated into the core language, and then only the operation is performed by the system. Here that is the thing. Input language, I can give some set of instructions, some set of commands that should be acceptable by the system. Then only the system should react. After that, the system that transform are described by the operation. Then only the system can react. That means the execution phase of the cycle is going to be evolved. That is going to be complete. The system accept our well-known command. The system should react. That is, I can say the execution phase of the cycle is complete. So after the execution, again the system will go to the new state. So that means which means the communicate to the user. Okay, you are give the instruction, we are giving the good command. The system give the scenario of the output. Then the system, then we can give, then the system are enter into the new state. So from this scenario, what do you understand? Yeah, the previous input I can define, I can collect the output. That output give the environment. So the current value of the system attribute are entered as a concept and the future of the output. So that's the interaction framework I defined. So here so that what here the 4 translation of that presentation, performance, articulation. First one is articulation. So here the articulation, performance, presentation and observation. Articulation, performance, presentation and observation. So one component to the another component I can go, so that in between the previous case, so that only I can say the 4 steps. These 4 steps only, input language, that is the input language performed by the system. No, this 4 step only going to be referred from the four components. I can view from the one component to the another component. The four steps are in previous slide. I told no that four steps are involved in this thing. So here that is the thing. That is, I can say that the four steps: input, manipulation, translation, and execution. Clearly, I can define. So what are the four steps that are to be involved in the interactive cycle? From the input, manipulation, translation. The fourth step, what is the need of fourth step? That is the user, they want to perform some operation. The user, that means the user give the commands or instruction to the system. The system should react. Here in that case, that is the four components, that is four translation has done. In between the first translation, one translation to the another translation, I want to perform the four major steps are involved. Input. So here the input, the user begin with the interactive cycle with the formulation of the goal and the task to achieve the goal. So that means the interaction cycle, here I can get the input, especially the user can give the good sufficient input. So that is the major thing. Next one, the user can manipulate so the machine should react. So that means the manipulation, some operation ought to be performed. So the user can manipulate the instruction. That means that feed the input to the machine, to the input. The task must be articulated within the input language. Some articulation has to be performed initially. That is the previous slide I told on. That's the articulation. Here the articulation, that's the first point. So here the input language is translated into because when I give the instruction, I command, that instruction or command ought to be translated into the own core language for the machine. Then only the system can perform. Okay. After that is you are already studied deeply in the operating system subject also, like this kind of concept. After that, the execution, the system that transform itself or described by the operation, that the execution phase of cycle is going to be complete. So the four phases, that the four steps are taken together, going for the four tasks. That is, what are four tasks? Articulation, performance, presentation, and observation. Okay. So this is the first top. Please note down the color points: input, manipulation, translation, and execution. Next, that is the okay. Here we have to deeply discuss what are for articulation, performance, evolution, so whatever. So what is articulation? The user formulation of the desired task to reach some goal needs to be articulated in the input language. That means, I clearly say here the task that are response to the user. So that means here I can give the input. The input, that is the condition, that is the command. It should be well. That is, it can be framed in terms of certain psychological attribute that highlight the future of the domain. So the input that should be good and sufficient. Then only the mission should properly react. Then only it will reach our goal, our expectation goal. That is a clear concept of the articulation. Okay, input is sufficient and good. Next one, the performance. So that the input are translated. I told them previously what I do. According to the system own language, core language, that input are translated into the core language. So here the translation, proper translation has to be done. So to translate the input language and can reach many state of system as it is possible. So here during the translation, that is the input language into the core language, it will reach some states. So once the transition has occurred within the system, then only the execution phase of the interaction is going to be complete and the evolution begins. Once the execution is completed, it will check our criteria. That is, I can say, the evolution. Where the performance I can say is what? The translation. Translate the input. That is a set of instruction into the core language. So in that case, it will say we have to reach so many states. Once the final state has achieved, then the execution of it will going to be complete, and then I can refer the evolution phase. Clearly, I told that is in the performance. Next one is the presentation. Here the presentation, what is the presentation? So after the execution is over, I told on previous clause that is it comes to the new state only. That new state that must be communicated to the user. So that is the beginning of translation of the system response to the transition as done. That is the output. So that means what? It preserves the relevant system attribute. The presentation should preserve the relevant system attribute. So that is the limited expressive of the output device. Next one is finally that is the output device. So output here, finally not output, that the observation. The response from the output is translated to the stimuli for the user, which trigger assessment. So observation translation will address and erase and coverage of the final translation. Here the observation. So here the observation, why I can put that is the translation will address ease and coverage of the final translation. So the server output ought to be generated then and there. Each and every output, that is it can be referred to the new state. Again, I can go. Again the same process. We can give some instruction. Again, the execution taken place successfully. Again, it goes to the furthermore new state. So likewise the set of work is going on. So that is the thing. So here, then the next one is I can say that the framework. So here the framework, that is the 4 components that deeply discussed. Just I can give the framework. I can give the in a summary way, in another way. So what is especially the framework ergonomics I can use it. That means the user side of the interface covering the input and output. Especially here the interaction side. Whatever simply I can tell in one line. Here the input output action, input output operation. According to the input, what is the output scenario? That is, I can say that is the interaction. So if I give the sufficient input, clear input, according to the input, my system should react well. So that is the thing. So that is the framework. So here I can particularly along with the input branch of the framework. So in that case, we are addressing the articulation performance. Articulation, sufficient input. Here the performance, I told no, that's the mission, the translation, and then we go for the execution. After we go for the evolution. That is the performance measure. So here in dialogue is most associated with the computer. So here also some dialogue or some message box is there. Why I can say, because if I give some input, here the processing is going down, especially our user must wait. Suppose already you face some real-time experience in your PC also. If you give sufficient numerous number of input, multiple times I can click. So the system goes to blurriness, no. So in that the dialogue message box, you have to, it should be indication. You have to wait for a few seconds like that. So as a user, we wait. Presentation and screen related to the output. Okay, entire framework can be placed with the social and organization context that affect the interaction. So these are the major concern point, that the implication of the good design. So here that the social and organization context, that the environment people, the acceptable environment people, I can refer the social and organization context, the screen design, dialogue. Here that is the ergonomics. That is ergonomics. I can refer the interaction between the user and the system. Here the dialogue, I can refer the commands. Some messages we have to wait. If you click the PC, you are doing some operations, some message commands come. No, that is the thing. That is a beautiful framework. So here I can clearly explain the scenario of the framework involved in the HCI. So here the framework I told on one point, that is the ergonomics I refer. So next chapter, newly come chapter, ergonomics, you are going to be studying. Here the ergonomics. Ergonomics, what is the ergonomics? Simply I can say the study of the physical characteristic of the interaction. how the controls are designed is very important, very important thing. Ergonomics keyword, we have to remember the meaning. What is the ergonomics? Simple definition, clear definition I can put in the PPT. Please go note down students, dear students. The study of the physical characteristic of the interaction. The study of the physical characteristic of the interaction, that is the ergonomics, how the controls are designed. So here the interaction taken place in the outside the environment. I can say physical environment. The physical environment in which interaction taken place. So what are the qualities that can be referred in the screen? 5 qualities that are referred in the screen. So explain the beautiful question they have asked several times. Explain the issues in what are the issues levels in ergonomics performance. They will ask. So we have to explain the elaborately what that is the physical quality of the screen. What are the 5 physical quality? Arrangements of control and display. Next one is the physical environment of the interaction. Third thing, health issues. Fourth thing, use of color. Fifth thing, ergonomics and HCI. The 5 things are major quality. Here, in the 5 quality, I can tell in the real-time example. Here also I can say what I am going to teach you. What that is HCI. Here that is the interactions framework. Later on that the ergonomics came with. So that means that is interaction taken place between me and you. I am in one side, you are in outside. So here what? So what are the measures? I can say the physical quality. What I mean. So that means what? Here also I can see that is a beautiful presentation of PPT along with bullet points followed by the color diagrammatic way. What is the environment support in the, that is a PC or mobile, whatever, the clarity is good. External factors, that is the thing, that is the what? Climatic and environment condition. The climate is also cool in the morning atmosphere. Your mind is to be fresh. What I deliver, you are able to easily catch up my words. Here what about the brightness of the PPT? Here in the room environment. So these all the external factor that is support our interaction, our class between you and me. So like here that is the ergonomics. So here especially I can say that the first point and what I do, that the arrangements of control and display. So here that's the cognitive aspect of design. So here the set of control, the part of display should be grouped logically to allow the rapid, that means what? Rapid access, the multiple user can able to access. So I can use a spreadsheet, or for example, here not only the spreadsheet, sharing the PPT to you at a single time, everybody or view. That is the thing. Here also they are the safety critical. Here they can be that is, you can turn into safety critical applications such as plant control, aviation, and traffic control. Here especially in that is the traffic. Here it can be applied in the real-time application of the traffic control. What are the layout taken account on the functional layout, sequential layout, frequency layout. Function layout, sequential layout, frequency layout. Here the appropriate layout. Here the appropriate layout, especially three controls are there. One is the functional control, sequential control, frequency control. What is functional control? A display are organized so that the function is related to the are placed together. Here the display are organized. Display ought to be organized in a well-designed manner. Sequential control. Here the display ought to reflect the order of uses in a typical interaction. Here the frequency. How many times the display is there. So consider the 3 things. We have to imagine the traffic. What I did now I told, now what is the thing I told? It's a traffic, sir. So during the traffic, here while we go for the center of junction, 4 roads are there: north, south, east, west. Here the police officer, they're going to give the commands to go with the help of the light, red, what are the colors refer in the traffic signal? Tells dear students, now what is the thing? Red, green, and yellow. So especially for this road, we have to wait for that is the 30 seconds. But for the left hand side street, we have to wait for 40 seconds. Here in the right hand street, we have to wait for the 25 seconds for even the same red signals. Here that is the frequency, or that is the frequency. For this among the four side junction road, that the frequencies are there. So here also first initially yellow, that means we have to slow down the speed. Everything that is the red. Later on we have to that is green. Here the green signal for this road, they are going to permit for only for 45 60 seconds. Within the 60 seconds, what are the vehicles they go like that. So the frequency, the sequential operation, red, green, each and among the four side of the road, they are maintaining. That is the thing. That is the arrangement of control and the frequency and the display. For real time example, I told that is the arrangement of control and display. You have to understand the concept well from the example. I give an example. Next one, the physical environment of the interaction. Here the physical environment of the environment. What is the thing? Layout and arrangement of the machine interface. So the layout and arrangement of the machine interface. That means the system is using many influence of how it is accepted and even health and safety of the user. So that means what? Here in the previous slide I told the frequency. Here the frequency sequential function, that should be proper. So what are the consideration taken account? First consideration, second consideration, third consideration. So first thing is what? I told why. Here in the first, for this straight red color light, we have to wait for 30 seconds. Again, left hand side street, the same vehicle person wait for 40 seconds. Because what? Because depending upon the number of people arrived in the particular street, number of people are going then and then the particular street, so that within the same junction along the four side of the road, the waiting of the red signal ought to be vary. That is the thing. Here the size of the user, I can say the real time example, I can say the number of person, the number of vehicle person travel then and there. So that so the smaller user should be able to reach all the control. So okay, here the less number of people are travel in the particular amount of street, they are going to be travel then and there. Second consideration, it should be comfortable able to see the critical display. All the four sides of the road, that here the signals are there, signal display are there. So user can easily understand the scenario and comfortable well they are going to cross. That may be go straightwards, that may be either go left or right. Third consideration, the seating should be provided back support. So if required to stand, the user should have the room to move around in order. So again, the physical environment of the interaction. Here that is thing. Next one, the health issues. Health issue, that means what? Here the computer can use a ordinance activity, but we should bear in mind possible consequence of a design. Here the physical position, temperature, lighting, noise, and time. These are the what? That is the external factor that influence the health issues. Here the physical position, temperature, lighting, noise, and time. Now we have to discuss one by one. Physical position. The user should be able to reach all the control comfortably. So what? Here the user can view all the signal well. Here so user can view the signal well. Here the temperature is taken into account. Temperature is taken into account. What is the temperature? Here again the traffic signal. We view the light, red, green, yellow, whatever. At the same time, the traffic signal, while you come to the night, the traffic signal we can view from the longer distance also. Because the climate is dark, we can view the red light in a clear way, in a effective way. So that is the temperature that taken upon, that is that the estimates of odd and not. I can explain along with one real time example, traffic analysis. We can take some other example also. Depending upon the example, they given the estimates of odd or cold will affect the performance they given. Next one is the lighting. Here the lighting that means what? Especially now here the what here the now that is the daytime only. So here in the daytime we can see all the circumference because due to sunlight. Here the white light only reflected. It should be we can view all the objects. Yeah, in the here the light properties I already explained the here the input output channel also deeply explained what is the frequency, brightness, everything. Here next one is the noise. Excessive noise can be harmful to health, causing the user pain. Here also what here the especially hearing what that is that is very important. That if I take 1 to 1% normal voice is there, I'm going to take for all the 50 students. I have to put much more time also. Sorry, much more effort to raise my voice. What is the time that is spent during the system? Okay, performance for each state. So that is the health issue taken to physical position, temperature, lighting, noise, and time. 5 things are there. Next one, the use of color. The use of color, I told that again traffic analysis I clearly explained. The ergonomics has a close relationship to the human physiology. That is a concern with the perception in limitation to the user. Yeah, that is especially usually whatever even my PPT also you note down now. Especially I can use the green, blue, yellow. Actually, previously I first 1 or 2 days I used that is the red color. Some students so in PC so okay, in mobile the red color not able to see the content, so that I neglect the red color. Especially so those who are viewing the mobile, especially the number 51 no, that is slide number. Some not able to see clearly, I think so. Okay. Okay, that is the thing. Especially that is the color is also important. That is a few property an input output channel I explained. Especially red, green, yellow are the colors frequently associated with stop, glow, standby. That's in the normal tanks. Here the normal traffic analysis. The use of color. Next one, the ergonomics and HCI. So ergonomics is a huge area. Especially what ergonomics or to tell the physical characteristic of the interaction. That is the ergonomics. It's very, very important that the physical, which is distinct from the HCI. In quantum, there are some constraints, there are conditions, and for designing the systems. So ergonomic factors are general, well established and understood on the basis of understanding hardware designs. Design, especially tell about the design. So here the 5 beautiful points are deeply discussed here in the ergonomics. Is here that's the what that is thing. Arrangement of control and display, physical environment of the interaction, health issues, use of color, ergonomics and HCI. So especially they'll ask what are the issues levels, explain the issues levels, what are the explain the physical quality that can be referred in the ergonomics. Now align the 5 points clearly. We can note down the I don't worry. I'll send the PPT. This hierarchical structure is easy to learn. We can easily remember. We have to write in our own also. So that I'll send the PPT to you. It is very catchable points. Please note down these points. It is easy to write. Okay, that is a beautiful hierarchy PPT presentation. So now next we come to the. I think we are near to the end of the first student. Again, some more topics are there. In the last 2 minutes, I can simply tell what is the interaction style. Here, the interaction. Interaction, I told several times. I told the interaction taken place between the user and the system. Here that is the interaction. What are the styles that can be referred? What are the styles? I can say the interface styles. what are refer. So while we go, especially interaction, not only the input out, not only the practical application. We have to see the some what day by day experience also. I want to fill up the forms in online. Yes, some of the question they will ask, we have typed the answer. Some of the menu code it will display. We have to choose the menu items. So these all that is also interaction. Okay, not only the practical application, especially that is the we can give the input out, especially interaction. Interaction, that means what? Interaction taking place between the user and system. In between is what is there? Input output. That input output I can note down the common interface style. That means I can use the command line interface, menus, natural language. Natural language I can say that the set of commands. Question and answer according to question, according to dialogue, according to query I have to answer. And spreadsheet they will ask, and the application form, and the what is my name, what is my address, everything I have to fill up. WAMP interface. You can ask what is the expansion of WAMP, sir. I will tell in next class. Or point and click, 3-dimension interface. So this all the common interface we are deeply
Pradeep sir.
Yes, ma'am.
ஒரு லாஸ்ட் 2 minutes நான் பேசிக்கலாமா?
Okay, ma'am.
நீங்க ஒரு 2 நிமிஷம் எடுத்துட்டு க்ளோஸ் பண்ணீங்கன்னா நான் பேசிக்கிறேன்.
2 minutes just நான் முடிச்சிட்டு இது பண்ணிறேன் மேம்.
சரிங்க சார். தேங்க்ஸ் சார்.
Okay. So that is the thing. Later on we go for that is the last that is a few minutes. I'm going to revise the simply. So you're all familiar about the input and output device, memory in computer, everything knows. Just we have to discuss what are the limitation of interactive performance. Here the limitation of interactive performance, that means what I have to say, that is what are the factors that can be processed, what are the factors that are going to be performed in the speed processing. Next one is we can say the network computing. That is the network computing and the factors that favor the limit for the speed processing, we have to say. So next here down execution evolution I told in the class on here in the previous slide also. Here the execution, what is the according to the input, what operation has performed, what is the output, that is the execution. From the execution, that is the output. It will reach all the criteria or not. That is the evolution. Ergonomics I told tell the physical characteristic of the interaction, that is the ergonomics. Here in the framework, so in the framework, here especially the framework, especially that the interaction has to be taken place well. So how the interaction ought to be well, that is we can say that the interaction framework we can deeply discuss. So here in the last topic in the PPT I told that is the physical characteristic refer in the ergonomics, totally arrangements of control and display, physical environment of the interaction, health issues, use of color, ergonomics and HCI. So, okay, come to the next class onwards. I will go into deeply describe the interaction style. Yes, ma'am. Jayashree, ma'am, you need some 2 minutes skating, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Okay. You are in the last one.